Welcome to another solo session live stream. I'm your host with the pirate name in the real estate game, Zach Kidd. And this is Fraud Friday. Oh, hi. Don't mind me. I'm just hacking into someplace I shouldn't be. You know, gotta wear the outfit, right? What's going on, everybody? I'm Zach Kidd, having a good time here on a Friday night. I know it's not like the good time I was having in my 20s, but that's okay. You know, I'm not 20 anymore. So, yeah, I got the AC going because I'm wearing the hoodie because, you know, it's a theme, man. You can't be a hacker unless, like, seriously, I went and looked up some, like, hacker stock video, and, like, everything looks like this. Like, really? Really? Can we be more stereotypical? Anyhow, I'm having a good time tonight. We're here to do Fraud Friday. I got some good stuff for you. Speaking of hacking, I got a little computer program that I've been working on. It's not quite ready for deployment yet. I was trying it, and again, I came skidding in sideways. It was really close. I got it to work once, and then I can't get it to work again. So maybe it'll surprise me. I do have one workaround, but I should have it completely up and running, at least, you know, in a very limited rollout by Military Monday. So Military Monday, military and veteran stuff, Monday evening, 6 p.m. But yeah, I'm like, I've been geeking out on this extra little plug-in here. I mean, it's the coolest thing ever. But man, again, learning curve, but it stops me from having to poke at my iPad too much. So it's going to be really cool when I do get to roll it out. But for tonight, I got some really banging stuff for you. But before we get started though, it is Friday night and I saw something and I went, you know what? I got to do it. I have to drop everything and do a promo here real quick because this one deserves it. Let's take a look. Can you spare just $5 for a pause cause? These beautiful faces are all in boarding, and that's not free. And poor Chandler doesn't even have a photo yet, but he ran up the vet bill with his battle with liver failure. Any amount is gratefully received. You can donate at pawliferescuegroup.org/donate. If you would prefer to donate products, they have a link on that page for their Amazon wish list too. Adopt, don't shop, and please spay and neuter your pets. If you can't adopt, then please consider fostering or financing one of these friendly faces. What a good, wholesome thing, right? Like, I love my puppy dogs. Speaking of which, there's one in there that I have just been like, oh, man, I want to adopt that dog so bad. Number one, we already have Dory, who's sitting over here sleeping, as she usually does. About 8:30 at night, she goes bonkers, but, you know, she gets zoomies a couple of times a day, but for the most part, she just sleeps. She's great. She's wonderful. I love her. And I was like, man, I don't know if I can bring another dog into this house. But yeah, I've really got a soft spot in my heart for Hamlin. He's a handsome boy. He's a little bit bigger than Dory, but I went and watched their video that Paul Life had posted earlier today, they posted it before, but I watched it earlier today, and he's not good with other animals, which is so sad. I was so tempted when they said he's not good with other dogs or cats. I was like, I can't get him. He's for somebody else. So, but like, hey, if you go adopt Hamlin, please hit me up because I would love to meet him in person and like love on it. He's just the handsomest, sweetest boy. So anyhow, and you're not going to make a bad choice down at the shelter. The Paw Life, they do awesome work. They're tied in with Pinellas County Animal Services, no kill, and that's huge to me. There's, you know, I'm a big advocate of pet ownership. Matter of fact, that's one of my main goals in real estate is I want people to get into homes where they can adopt pets. You know, if you're renting, you're living someplace that's prohibited, Some places they don't let you have any pets. Sometimes it's breed restrictive. Look, you own your own house and it's not in an HOA. You get to do whatever you want to. If you really want to go wild and crazy, you find yourself in an unincorporated area and then you can have goats. So, but yeah, please go and adopt. I love my critters way too much. I'm a softie for them. Anyhow, that's a little off topic for Fraud Friday. So let's dig into some of the actual content here. And y'all can see some of these frauds and scams. Once again, you can chat from wherever you're watching at. I do have the chat up and running. We're live streaming tonight on Facebook profile, Facebook page, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, and Rumble. If y'all know anybody over at Rumble, smack them around a little bit, because like it takes me 10 minutes to go set up the live stream for Rumble. It's such a pain, and everything else is just like, yeah, cool, man. Like it's literally one click on here. So I don't know, just like once it's set up, it's one click, and it drives me nuts, because I'm like, I gotta stop everything. Do I really want to stream on Rumble tonight? It drives me insane. So anyhow, yeah, you can chat from wherever you're at. If you're watching, you got a question, you got a comment, got an idea for a future show, put it in the chat and I will answer you back live and on the air if I can. So let's pop over to the browser here and take a look at some of the latest, greatest news on the fraud side of the world, because that's what you're here for. This one just dropped. I think it was today at 11:42 a.m. So this is like super hot off the presses. Gmail security warning for 2.5 billion users. AI hack confirmed. Ooh, man. For those of you who really suck at math, that's about a third of the entire world's population could be affected by this. Yeah, so let's take a look what's going on. This story, originally published January 30th, has been updated with a statement from Google. Hackers hiding in plain sight, avatars used in novel attacks, even perpetual 2FA bypass threats. Wow. It's two-factor authentication. That's when you go to log in someplace, they're like, we need to send you a text message, or you can use your authenticator app. Apparently this AI stuff is like bypassing it. That's crazy. Victim calls latest Gmail threat the most sophisticated phishing attack I've ever seen, which is saying something. Phishing is when they say, yeah, hey, I sent you this document, and you click on the document. No, you gotta put in your username and password. Oh, there you go. Imagine getting a call from a number with a Google caller ID from an American support technician warning you that someone had compromised your Google account. Okay, already I can say no. Please continue to listen to my podcasts. You will hear the same or the Fraud Friday podcast especially. You will hear the same thing over and over and over again. It's like the same 6 things I talk about. It's just latest and greatest on them. No one from Google is not going to call you, period. There are very limited circumstances that can actually happen. And if it does, they're not going to be asking you for stuff. Or they might, you might have to do a little bit of identity verification, but in general, no, it's not happening. It's just not happening. Someone had compromised your Google account, which has now been temporarily blocked. Imagine that support person then sending an email to your Gmail account to confirm this as requested by you and sent from a genuine Google domain. Wow, this just got a lot more interesting, a lot more sophisticated. Imagine querying the phone number and asking if you could call them back on it to make sure it was genuine. They agreed after explaining it was listed on google.com, and they said there might be a wait while on hold. Wow, like if they're actually pulling this off, I gotta give my hats off to them. Damn. You checked and it was listed, so you didn't make the call. Imagine being sent a code from Google to reset your account and take back control and almost clicking on it. Luckily, by this stage, Zach Latta, shout out, another Zach, spelled the same way too, good, founder of Hack Club, and the person who nearly fell victim, had sussed it was an AI-driven attack, albeit a very clever one indeed. Look, the first thing there, yeah, that's a red flag, but man, they did really, really well putting together the architecture to show a bunch of green flags right behind it. That's not easy. I was first warned about such AI-powered attacks against Gmail users on October 11th in a story that went viral. The methodology is almost exactly the same, but the warning to 2.5 billion users of Gmail remains the same. Be aware of the threat and don't let your guard down for even a minute. Yeah, the cyber criminals are constantly developing new tactics, techniques, and procedures to exploit vulnerabilities and bypass security controls, and companies must quickly adapt. Yeah, proactive and flexible approach to cybersecurity, which includes regular security assessments. Yeah, that one's a bit of a shocker. And just so you know, most of the time I just read these live because, like, I'm not going to do homework. Why am I going to do homework? I'm going to read it anyway, right? So, but yeah, that's pretty impressive. So yeah, long story short, if you're getting a call from Google saying that they compromised your Google, or that your Google account's compromised, just consider it fake. Especially now that this has come to light, just consider it fake. That's all there is to it. And whatever other steps, hey, yeah, you can call me back, you can do this, you can do that, just ignore them. I mean, the chances that you are legitimately that your Google account has been compromised, slim and none. And if I remember correctly, you have to have a backup. So yeah, totally worth checking into. Let's see. Nope, nothing in the chat yet. I'm looking. So let's take a look at the next one. FBI, issues new warning. Be on the lookout for specific language in emails. Let me guess, this too has something to do with AI. Warning about scammers targeting your email in more sophisticated ways. Oh, no, this one's a little different. The FBI wants the public to be aware of scammers trying to exploit mass casualty events and disasters, like the New Orleans attack on New Year's Day. Man, that went down the memory hole real fast, didn't it? Nobody's talking about that anymore. And the raging wildfires in Los Angeles. Yeah, I saw that, like, LA is getting a benefit, like which, mind you, it's LA. That's part of what they do. But yeah, they're like, hey, donate money to us. Meantime, people in North Carolina are like, hey, I got something better than a tent finally. So yeah. Anyhow, plus be on the lookout. Okay, here's big red flag. I need a little graphic for this, so I'm going to have to remember that. Big red flag. Anything that says messages that stress urgency. Hey, you got to do this right now. Man, I ain't got to do nothing. Ain't got to do a damn thing. So, yeah. Act fast is a common phrase popping up in many phishing emails, and experts say don't click or open the message unless it's someone you undeniably know and trust. My list there is about this big. And even with that, like, so if it's somebody that you know and trust and you get an email that's like, hey, you got to jump on this right now, call that person. In this, in this kind of realm, I refer to that, and you'll hear this on, real estate side too. It's referred to as voice verification. So if I get an email from my mom saying, hey, click on this link, it's really important, we need to go get this, I'm going to call her. Hey, Ma, did you send that to me? Send what to you? There you go. That's voice verification. That's all you need. Same thing goes in a real estate deal. When you are sent wiring instructions, don't ever wire money without, like if it's going to a title company, you should have already met somebody at the title company that will be your point of contact, or maybe 2 or 3 people, but you pick up the phone and you call them and you go, hi, Shirley, this is Zach. I'm going to be wiring money. I need to make sure that the account information that I have is accurate. Can you verify? And they'll voice verify for you, and you'll know who you're talking to. Just like if you called me, you would recognize my voice. So yeah, voice verification is huge. Don't trust anything that just kind of blindly comes in on your email. And it's funny to me because I'm Gen X and I grew up like this is like beaten into the back of my skull. This is second nature. But our parents and our kids, they're not nearly as tech savvy. Like the kids are great tech users. They're not decent tech fixers, and they don't know to look out for this stuff. And the parents are like, how do I plug in the toaster? It's got that stupid fat end prong. Yeah, I know. Just put the fat end prong in the fat end slot. You'll be fine. But no, like and thank God my mom is tech savvy. But yeah, like, you're going to have to make sure the people around you know about this. And if there's a shortcut to it, you can send them my podcast, send them this episode, go for it. I highly encourage it. Anyhow, cyber defense agencies suggest always be cautious of any emails that use urgent or emotionally appealing language. You have to help me. I ain't gonna do shit but stay white and die, okay? There. Also, more sophisticated phishing emails are beginning to emerge that look much less suspicious with the help of artificial intelligence. So yeah, AI is getting really good with language manipulation. I mean, they're essentially known as LLMs, large language models, and for lack of a very specified deep dive on it, basically they're scouring the internet for information and learning how to parrot that back. So if you just sent a large language model out to read the complete works of Shakespeare 1,000 times and then give you a summary, it's going to be an iambic pentameter, and it, like, the summary that it produces is going to be iambic pentameter, and it's going to sound like Shakespeare because that's all that model has ingested. So someplace out there, there's a model that's feeding on the, here's how you write a professional email, like whatever it is, that's what they're feeding it. And that's what they're able to get back and be able to use against you. So just be aware. It's huge. It's such a small, easy to miss thing with such huge implications. Because, one click and, login, password, boom, they've got all your banking info, and that's scary. So let's move on to something else over here. Check this out. Now look, before we get into this, I have to hide this for half a second so I can talk. Where is it? There we go. We need to go back up full screen here for 1 second. This is a real estate broker that I'm about to call out. According to the Realtor Code of Ethics, I cannot talk bad about another realtor. But if it's a real estate agent or real estate broker, that is not covered underneath the term realtor. A lot of people use them interchangeably, just like facial tissue and Kleenex. Realtor. Now you got to be, member of the National Association of Realtors to be a realtor. But a real estate agent ain't covered by that. And I don't know if this dude is or not, but I can talk trash about real estate agents all day long, and I am not violating my code of ethics. It's only if I say something bad about a realtor, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to talk trash about real estate agents. So anyhow, let's take a look at this schmuck, and yeah, I'm going to call him out. Newport Richie Realty Company owner, see, realty, not a realtor, realty, arrested after stealing more than $300,000 from victims. So, yeah. Anyhow, all right. Michael Bundy, 63, owner of Sonesta Realty, a company that collects money on behalf of clients and manages properties. So that's property management. Now, mind you, a lot of other people use these terms interchangeably. I do not. I am very specific in my language. I make the distinction, and there is a distinction between property management and community association management. Community association management is condos and HOAs, can also be for mobile home parks and cooperatives. But they manage the business of the community. Property management is when you are helping individual owners find renters for their houses, townhomes, condos, whatever. So there can be a little overlap there. There's a little overlap in business model, but property managers help landlords find tenants and help tenants find landlords. So there's money to be had in that. I know a couple of people who are excellent at it. If you're looking for a name, I got him for you. Yeah, this guy apparently, I don't know if he's just doing payment processing for them or what, but we're going to find out here. Bundy has been placing funds collected from clients into escrow accounts over the last several months, but drained these accounts, which was captured on surveillance footage. Yeah, that's called conversion. That's a big crime. That's like, you gave me $1,000 to hold on to, until Christmas, right? Cool. I set that in its own bank account. I don't touch it. Your 1,000 stays over there. Now, if I put that 1,000 in my own bank account, okay, that, it can still be tracked and earmarked, but the day I take $20 out of it to go get dog treats, that's it. I just converted that money into my own personal funds. That's a big crime. And I can tell you right now that that's taken quite seriously. Not saying that it doesn't happen, but it's still taken pretty seriously. During the investigation, 26 victims were identified with losses totaling over $360,000. All right, we're going to try this. Calculator. Am I going too fast? Calculator. Of course not. It doesn't want to work right this second. All right, well, we'll try it. We'll do this manually. Let's go 3. See, I suck at math, but that's why I got a calculator, man. $360,000 divided by 26 equals roughly $13,846 per person average. That's not small taters. Ooh, ouch. According to officers, the total estimated amount stolen is believed to exceed $1.5 million. Look, I say this every once in a while. If you're like going to be a criminal, criminals do criminal stuff, right? The problem is they either get greedy or complacent. If you have just built people out of, and look, there's a threshold. Everybody's got a threshold, but I'm telling you right now, if you took $1 million in general, you need to take some of that money and just disappear. That is money well spent. If you've got $1 million that you have somehow finagled off of people, it's time for you to disappear, because that starts hitting people's radar pretty quick. Anyhow, Bundy was arrested and charged with scheme to defraud over $100,000 and grand theft of escrow funds. See, big deal, escrow funds. Additional charges are pending as the investigation continues. Newport Richey Police Department asked the community for any information or if they feel like they have been a victim. Contact Newport Richey Police Department at, and I'm going to read this out so it'll come up, 727-841-4550. Okay, I'm gonna pop out of here for 1 second. Yeah, so if you think maybe you got scammed by this dude, call the Newport Richey Police Department. If you don't file a report, you have zero chance of ever getting any money back. If you do file a report, it's pretty slim, but yeah, you still might get something back. I'm gonna pop over here to chat real quick. Dave says $57,692. Is that's not the 1.5 mil, is it? I already shut down my calculator. How'd you come up with that number, Dave? Calculator, 1.5. Come on. Oh, hey, it worked that time. 1500000 divided by 26. There you go. Yeah, 1.5 million divided by 26. $57,692.31 30 cents and a bunch of little 762. I love it. So yeah, that's not small taters. That's between $13,000 and $60,000, $10,000 and $60,000 per person average. Holy horse hockey. Yeah. And the things like this, I'm glad that the cops are onto it. And they're actually taking action, because this is what gave real estate agents a bad name, being shady and converting money. So yeah. Oh, by the way, yeah, here we go. Chat from wherever you're at. Doesn't matter where you're watching from. Well, let's see. I did try this out and dropped a couple of links in the chat last time around, and it did not propagate out to every place, but it should bring them in. I don't know for sure. So anyhow, let's move on to the next one here. Buyer on the hook for $366,000 in damages after failing to close. Ooh, yeah. This one's a couple of months old, or a month and a half old now. Cases arising from failed residential real estate transactions in a falling market reaffirm that buyers who breach purchase agreements may face significant financial repercussions. Now, look, I'm going to tell you right now, they're in Florida, as a buyer, you have some really good outs. And it's okay to use them. The big one, this is pretty across the board. Let's see. Is this going to work if I do it? Let's go back over here. Let's see if this works this time, because my little thingy, I got my app is working now apparently. I'm not an attorney. It didn't work. Okay, well fine, I'll do it this way. There we go. I'm gonna get that one to work. Hands free, no less. But yeah, like, not an attorney. But at the end of the day, your inspection period, oh man, that is the most beautiful thing ever. The market has slowed down. Back in the hot stuff in 2020, 2021, people were just no inspection, no nothing, just please get. They were begging for the house and offering stupid amount of money over asking, which, I mean, look, you need a house, you need a house. But yeah, I mean, it was a feeding frenzy. So people were just waiving inspections, waiving contingencies. We don't care what's wrong. We will figure it out, and we're going to pay you stupid money for the house. That was 5 years ago, 4 years ago, if you want to say 2021. That's not what it is now. Now the market has slowed down significantly. So if you're writing an offer, and I'm not trying to go in between you and your realtor or a real estate agent, this is just coming from what I'm familiar with. There's a section in the purchase and sale agreement there, contract, about the inspections and the inspection period. Make sure you have, at the very least, a 7-day inspection period. 10 days was customary back in like 2017, 2018. That's not unreasonable. And, you know, if you're going to be waiting around a little bit longer, even 14 days is still not unreasonable. Get a very reputable, qualified home inspection company to come out and take a good look at it. I don't care if your Uncle Bob was a contractor. Uncle Bob is not an inspector. Inspectors are inspectors. They will go through with a fine-tooth comb, and they will find everything wrong with that property. And then it's up to you to go, I don't really care that there's not a cover on the light switch in the attic for the light bulb. Not a deal breaker for me. Okay, cool. But you know, if the entire electrical system is aluminum, yeah, that could be a deal breaker. And that, like, if you're financed, then yeah, depending on which loan type you're getting, they might go, you ain't getting a loan for something that's got aluminum wiring in the house. Okay, cool. Your Uncle Bob, he may or may not be looking for that. You know, it might be a plumber or something like that. I don't know. May not know what to look for. Home inspectors, they're going to tell you. They're going to tell you if it's already been remediated. They know what they're doing. So if you're looking for one, I don't have it queued up. I need one. Rock Solid Home Inspections. Give them a shout out right now. They're awesome. I have several other great ones in the area. And again, I'll get some promos going and be able to do that kind of stuff. But yeah, that home inspection period, if you say, let's just do 10 days, and you come in on day 8 and go, you know what? I don't like this house anymore. I don't like the layout. I don't like the smell, whatever. You know, first time we came through, they were baking cookies. Today, it doesn't smell like that. I don't want it anymore. Cool. No harm, no foul. It's during the inspection period. There are other contingencies, things like, you know, your loan. If your lender comes in and, you know, the appraisal comes in like 50 grand low, or, you know, 10, 20% low. All right, they're not going to write the loan for it. Or you can either come up out of pocket to be able to go through with the deal, or you can say, they're not giving me the money, I can't do the deal. And that is also a valid contingency. So there are, and I'm going to be very harsh and frank here for a second, there are plenty of legitimate ways to go in, find out every reason not to do the deal and move forward, or to find every reason not to do the deal and go, you know, that really is a deal breaker, and walk away clean. Anything else is fuckery. Don't be that dude, because we won't work with you after that. Anyhow, let's go through back to the article here for a second. There we go. Often buyers argue that sellers have failed to mitigate losses by not relisting the property or securing another buyer at the same price. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I bailed on it, and then the seller's like, you know, hey, we're you were just going to hold off for a week because, they might have something valid, like the kitchen drawers did squeak. So we're going to take a couple of days and hit them with WD-40. That's perfectly reasonable. The inspection report came back and said you got 15 dings. Cool. We're going to take the property off the market for a couple of weeks and get the 15 dings dealt with, or might be 3 weeks or a month. What the seller does is none of the buyer's business. What the buyer does is none of the seller's business. Until you're at the closing table, nobody's business. But anyhow, however, this argument is seen in Singh and Kaur versus Feinek. I might have just mangled all of that, but I don't care. Must be backed by evidence and cannot be based on speculation. So the buyer can't say, well, they should have put the property back on the market. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Kiss my ass. Or trying to find another buyer. Look, right now, buyers are few and far between, and it's getting slower. Like, just because, yeah. Anyhow, in this case, the plaintiff, go back over here, there we go. In this case, the plaintiff sellers agreed to sell their property for $1.25 million with a closing date in early August of 2022. So it was still pretty hot back then. Despite several extensions, the defendant buyer was unable to secure financing and the transaction failed to close. Okay, so you're talking jumbo loan there, or maybe they're purchasing cash and just didn't have it liquid. Fine, whatever. But in this case, they actually used the word secure financing. So that means they were trying to get a loan and couldn't. All right, again, I already talked about that. That is a loan contingency. If it's written into the contract, which it's the boilerplate here, shouldn't be a problem. The sellers then relisted the property in 2022 and accepted a significantly lower offer of $965,000. Okay, so we're talking August 2022, August, so September, October, November, December. So they had 4 months there, and the next offer was quite a bit less. They sued for damages and brought a motion for summary judgment to the Superior Court of Justice based on the well-established principles for motions in similar cases. So, they're like, look, we've got Dave's up there. Oh, hey, man, check it out. Hey, I'm going to pop that down for a second. Look at this. There we go. Yeah, my wife chimed in, and Wendell's here. What's going on, Wendell? I got a promo I'm working on for you too. If y'all want to watch some amazing rocket launches, Wendell lives over on the East Coast, and he will live stream sometimes the Falcon launches, anything going up from SpaceX. He's got the killer camera. He's got a pan tilt zoom. He'll even do drone work. I don't know how he's doing that. I thought you'd be in the no-fly zone there, Wendell, but he's doing it. So, and Wendell's just an awesome dude. Yeah, I'm going to do a promo for his channel. It's called, if you go over onto YouTube and look it up, it's called Visual Echo. And he puts up some just amazing videos. So yeah, thanks for joining me today, Wendell. Dig it, man. I love this. So anyhow, we're going to come back over here. Mitigation efforts and legal obligations. The defendant conceded breaching the agreement of purchase and sale. They acknowledged for damages, but disputed the seller's calculations for damages sought. 1.25 million down to 965. I think that's simple math. Even I could do that. I'd have to do a longhand or break out the calculator. Is it going to work? It's not going to work. Okay, I'm not going to worry about it then. But yeah, it's not an insignificant amount of money. Defendant challenged both the seller's conduct in failing to consider another offer to purchase made by the defendant. Hold up. Your money didn't go through the first time. You're gonna make me another offer? I don't think so, man. Like, you already showed that you couldn't do it the first time. If you had the capability, and look, I get it. Like, oh, hey, I can't get this asset cashed out for 90 days. Well, then you make that offer, say it's going to be 100 days to close. And maybe, things happen. It's, his financial advisor said it's going to take us 90 days to liquidate that and, have your money. Okay, cool. We'll write the contract for 100. Well, the financial guy comes back. Well, I wasn't talking weekends and holidays. Shit. Things do happen, but still. The date used to be calculation of the damages. In that regard, defendant's evidence is that she had made further offer to purchase on January 2023 with proposed closing date of February that ought to be used for the calculation of damages. No, you did not have the money unless it was cash. This dude has no obligation to accept your offer. And really, I don't see why he would. Court noted that sellers are required to take reasonable, not exhaustive, steps to mitigate losses. They put it back on the market. Somebody gave them an offer. Wasn't the offer they wanted, but it was an offer they were willing to accept. Not rocket science here. Sellers presented evidence they relied on professional advice from their real estate broker. Correct. Maybe it's $1 million property. Well, float it at 1.25 and see what people have to say. Somebody came up 965 and the seller went, good enough. I'm not happy about it, but and accepted a reasonable offer given the market conditions. They also faced the unexpected burden and challenge of carrying 2 properties and accepted a reasonable offer. They needed out from under this one to get into their next one, or to at least unburden themselves so they could pay for the next one. Totally reasonable. Like, this happens all the time. So, but defendant did not file any independent objective evidence in support of her position that the sellers failed to mitigate their damages as a form of evidence from a real estate broker as reasonable listing prices for the property during the relisting period. Okay, yeah. So the defendant didn't have any legitimate basis to say anything, and the defendant's attempt to characterize the seller's conduct as unreasonable in the market conditions was rejected as being pure speculation. Correct. So yeah, this one's kind of interesting, but they're just trying to. Yeah, shady. Closing date, calculation of damages, blah, blah, blah. Now we're starting to get into dry stuff. The importance of market context, court assessed damages. Really? Wait. I need to scroll back up here. When did they decide to actually do that? Proposition for assessment of damages for the breach. Court is considered plaintiff's duty to take reasonable steps to avoid their loss, nature of the property, specific conditions. Plaintiff who retains the property solely for the purpose of speculation will be entitled to damages. Lastly, the court found no evidence to support a finding that the defendant was financially in a position to purchase the property. I'm sorry, I'm going to be harsh here for a second. Bitch ain't got no money, so it doesn't matter. Had the seller, she didn't come up and say, "Hey, look, I've got a stack of cash now." She just said, "I'm going to write you another offer, close in another month." No. Court assessed damages at $366,513, which included a $287 price difference between the original and resale values. There you go. 30 grand, 31,000, 32,000. There you go. 31,906 in carrying costs such as utilities, taxes, mortgage interest. 47,107 interest related to the financing the seller's new build home. So yeah, that's, just make sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed and your lowercase j's are dotted too. I'll be the first to say I don't like math, and I'm not a big fan of paperwork because, man, I got a ream of it to fill out for some of this stuff. Understand the implications of the paperwork. That's huge. And if you're on the buyer side, you've got a bunch of outs. I like to explain those to people. If you're on the seller side, they give you an offer and you accept it. You don't have a lot of outs from that point on, except for the buyer's failure to perform or the idea that they're going to kick out. So, but yeah, just watch yourself. Like, contract law is tricky, but that one's huge. So let's get on to something just as bad. Feds slap TD Bank with $3.1 billion in fines. For money laundering of fentanyl trafficking and terrorist financing. Look, if you're going to TD Bank for a loan, if you got money in TD Bank, you better get it out. I mean, look, we know the banks are in bed with the government, and that's not idle speculation. Go look who sits on the Federal Reserve banks and go look at who sits in Congress and see how they're tied in there. Pretty obvious. And the big banks sit on the board of the Federal Reserve, which gives the money, lends the money to the U.S. government. Yeah, so I don't think $3.1 billion in fines is going to stick, or it'll be greatly reduced because, they'll get mealy-mouthed about it. This was back in October, but they pled guilty and agreed to pay over $1.8 billion in penalties to resolve it. Wow. Violations of the Bank Secrecy Act and failure to comply with an anti-money laundering rules. So if you've been sleeping on this or you don't get fat paychecks, if you go to the bank and you say, here's a check for $15,000, they report that to the feds because it's over the $10,000 threshold. If you go in and say, hey, I got $9,000 to deposit, they go, sketchy. Maybe I'll report that. Maybe I won't. If you come in the next day and say, I've got another $9,000, yep, they're reporting you. just because, you tried to avoid the $10,000 limit. So, the banks are 100% working with the government to watch your accounts. And we heard about this last year, too, that, you $600 on, what was it, Venmo or something like that, that'll trigger the IRS to look at it. All right, cool. From the same people who sent, billions to Ukraine, just willy-nilly. But, hey, my $600 is bad. Which I gotta give credit where credit's due. Like Rand Paul is like, oh really? You want to check out any transaction over $600? Here, I just Venmo'd $601 to Ukraine. Now go audit their paper trail. It's like, yeah, that's good, man. I dig it. Separately, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network penalized New Jersey-based subsidiary of Canadian banking giant for $1.3 billion over the violations. Conspiracy to commit money laundering. By making its services convenient for criminals, it became one. Really? Okay, hold up. By that same logic, if you send a package through the U.S. mail that contains something illegal to somebody who has an illegal intent for it, does that make the U.S. Post Office liable? Same. Like the bank's entire job is to hold your money and give it back to you. And then they get into the usury and the lending and that kind of stuff, which, that's shady when you know what's going on with that too. But, theoretically, look, I am totally down with a Swiss bank account, Cayman Islands, whatever. Your money is your money. Like the bank should just be able to go, hi, Mr. Kid, please come in. Do you have the key for your safety deposit box? That should be the only part of the conversation. None of the government's business what you're doing at your bank. But yeah, apparently you made it convenient for criminals. Why? Because they put money in and took money out? Like, what do you think a bank does? It's like saying, McDonald's drive-thru made it convenient for the criminals to get a burger on their way back from the bank robbery. Yeah, McDonald's serves food at the drive-thru. That's what they do. Anyhow, U.S. Treasury and FinCEN history from long-term pervasive systemic deficiencies in its U.S. AML procedures, policies, and controls, but failed to take appropriate remedial action. Senior executives enforced budget mandate, flat cost paradigm, that their budget should not increase year over year despite profits and risk profiling increasing significantly over the same period. Hey, look, they're making a lot more money and didn't want to spend a dime more. So, in that case, they had it coming to them. Their program appeared adequate on paper. Regulators stated fundamental and widespread flaws made it an easy target for perpetrators of financial crime. Really? Yeah. I don't like to swing political on stuff, but there's some pretty big name perpetrators of financial crime that have not been investigated and that are still sitting in Congress. This resulted in approximately 18.3 trillion of transaction activity, made it convenient for criminals to collectively transfer more than 670 million through TD bank accounts between 2019 and 2023. Okay, so that's what, 200 million a year? Not even. That's under 200 million a year. Like, as financial crimes go, that money laundering, that's not that much. 40 million through large cash deposits into nominee accounts. Oh yeah, you can't use cash. Get out of here. I mean, look, I'm the first one to say I don't mind watching a sacred cow get skewered and put on the barbecue, but I don't know, that whole thing sounds sketchy. Oh yes, among other failures, TD Bank processed transactions on Venmo and Zelle that were indicative of human trafficking, and as a result of the deficiencies, failed to identify and timely report those transactions to the regulator. I don't know, somebody tells me they're buying a knick-knack, I consider it a knick-knack. On the other hand, I did see that, what was it, last year, that the Wayfair numbers were popping up with IDs. Like, you go Google the number on Wayfair and it was like, here's Joe, he's a 14-year-old boy. And you're like, what? So, I don't know, could be. Didn't hear any blowback on Wayfair about that from the federal government. But anyhow, so, yeah, but that's the banks for you, here we go. It ain't honest, but it's much. Oh yeah, yeah, I love it. You know what? Before I click over here, I'm going to try it one more time because maybe it's working. But I'm going to try saying it and see if it pops up on the screen like it should. Farmer. I did it. Damn. Hands free, and it should turn itself off here in a second, all by its lonesome. Ah, yeah, banging, man, banging. So yeah, that's my new voice attack plugin. It's really cool. And then we got 4 more to go, real easy. These are all from Malwarebytes. If you know anybody over at Malwarebytes and they want to sponsor me, have them give me a call. I'd love to be sponsored by Malwarebytes. They got awesome stuff. Anyhow, I love their products. I love their blog. Anyhow, oh man, really? Okay, let's see if I can scooch this. Nope, let's go. Oh, fine, be that way. Yeah, I'm sorry it's cut off on the screen. Doesn't look like there's much I can do about it. Stupid stuff. Well, maybe I can do this. Can I do that? Okay, that's a little better. It's a little smaller, but at least fits in the boundaries. Warning, do not buy or sell a secondhand iPhone with TikTok already installed. Okay, look. If you're going to sell your device, wipe it. Like, and make sure that you use an actual wiper. Like, and no, we're not talking something to clean the glass. We're talking, go find the highest rated app in the App Store for wiping a phone. You want your data completely removed from the phone, and not just removed, because for those of us been around a little while, that data does not disappear. It's just made available. So, you know, when it gets saved in, it's like, you know, we put gas in the tank. Well, now we took the gas out of the tank. No, the gas is still there. It's just made available to put someplace else. So yeah, you want something that overwrites that, especially if it overwrites it with nonsense about 3, 4, 5 times, then your data's secure. After TikTok was briefly banned in the US last weekend, briefly, one day, an unusual phenomenon unearthed. Oh, man, yeah. Core memory unlocked. Phenomenon. Reportedly, people are selling that was Muppets thing. Reportedly, people are selling iPhones that have TikTok installed for up to $25,000. Ooh, man, that's a good deal. Go buy yourself a bunch of phones, install TikTok on it. Hey, TikTok's banned. You want a phone that's got it? I mean, hey, like I give credit where credit's due. That's a good one there. This may require some explanation, so bear with me. Let's see. TikTok has had a rough time in the U.S. in the last few weeks. The ban we mentioned originates from back in March when the House of Representatives passed a bill that would effectively ban TikTok unless Chinese owner ByteDance agreed to give up its share of the immensely popular app. I'll pontificate upon that in a moment. Despite an overruled emergency injunction to stop or postpone the planned ban on the platform in the U.S., the ban took effect January 19th. But TikTok's messaging was clear. They were coming back. Sorry, it's not available right now. I love this though. We are fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. Please stay tuned. Holy shit. Look, I gotta love TikTok just for putting that out there, because they did not mince their words. They were just like, bring it. This is what we're doing. Like, Trump will take care of us. When a Chinese company, at least in theory, is like, no, we'll wait till Trump gets in office. He will make this right. Damn. Like, interesting times we live in. I will give it that. Yeah. And it was indeed back for millions of US users as of January 19th and 20th. That is to say, for those that had the app installed. Yeah, welcome back. However, anyone that deleted or never had the app installed are unable to download it, as the app stores still don't have it. And despite an executive order to delay enforcing the ban, it is unclear when it will be available for downloading again. So, you know, here we've got another case of, is the app store, for lack of a better term, like shadow banning this from being out there. I can tell you one of the big apps, I mean, it's a very big app that went off the App Store, was the DJI app, drone controller. It was on all the app stores, and they're like, yeah, we updated this thing, and the app store's like, no, you can't have that on our store anymore. And they're like, all right, cool, just come download it off our website. And the app store's like, so Yeah, I think that same thing's going to happen with TikTok, and it might wind up being a separate download through a different site. I can see a lot of like DJI, they were very good about clear communication on that. I don't know if TikTok's going to be quite so good if you do have to download it from an external site. Maybe they'll copy DJI's model. I don't know. And it wouldn't surprise me. And, you know, there was a day way back when that there was no such thing as an app store. I remember Nokia first got one. I'm like, the hell are these things? You know, if you wanted something, you went out on the internet, you found it, you downloaded it. You put the little USB thingy in your phone and downloaded the stuff and, yeah, hacked the ROM and shit, man. So, however, anyway, yeah, okay, there you go. Despite, yeah, secondhand iPhones for sale. People have seized this as money-making opportunity, selling their iPhones for thousands of dollars on eBay. But is it a smart thing to do? Look, if you're going to pay me 25 grand for an iPhone just because I was smart enough to buy it 3 days before the ban, download TikTok on it, and then turn around and sell it to you, you're damn straight that's a smart move. Just, you don't have to have your account tied to it, though. Yeah. One of those is to erase all content and settings. Yeah, of course they want you to do that. If you want to leave an app like TikTok behind, you have to manually erase all the other items on that list to make sure the buyer will not get a hold of private information about you. This is tough to do and highly likely you would leave some of your data behind. Yeah, because, you know, they're little data keepers and little data miners. Of course they're not going to let you get rid of all of your data. So, yeah, anyhow, if you're buying a secondhand one, be careful. There could be other stuff on there, you know, could be malware pre-installed that you can't see. Those things happen. There's malicious apps on both ways. So I personally, I don't think I would be willing to buy a secondhand phone from anybody. There's some things that you just want new. Like, I ain't buying secondhand underwear. Sorry. Not happening. I want it brand new. Still want it in the plastic package with the little cardboardy thing in there. I ain't playing around, man. So, you know, your phone's kind of the same, but yeah, if you really need your hit of TikTok, you might be up a creek without a paddle there. So let's move over here to 7-Zip. 7-Zip is, again, that we're going in the old school stuff here. I still use this a lot, though. Zips are ways to compress files, so it saves a lot of space for storage. I have a lot of use for that. There's a lot of people out there that still have use for that. If you've never used a file compression program like 7-Zip, you're missing out. Because, like, when you've got a whole bunch of larger files and you can compress them down to smaller than the smallest one, man, that is a huge savings. And look, storage is cheap, but you know, who wants to go out and spend another $200 on a larger hard drive and deal with setting that up and blah 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 when you just go compress, stick it away. So anyhow, yeah. This one came out January 22nd. So if you haven't been paying much attention to it, you need to. Especially if you've got 7-Zip installed. A patch is available for vulnerability in 7-Zip that it could have allowed attackers to bypass the mark of the web security feature in Windows. It's an attribute added to files in Windows, and they have been sourced from an untrusted location like the internet or a restricted zone. It's what triggers warnings that operating or opening files could lead to potentially dangerous behavior, including installing malware. So, yeah. Also make sure that Office documents are marked with the mark of the web will be open in protected view, which automatically enables read-only mode. It means that all macros will be disabled until the user allows them. So this is a major safety feature. And glitched, it's reading like it was just a glitch. They didn't mean for this to happen. It just happened. For years, hackers were able to bypass that by putting malicious files in the archives. This worked because it's, in fact, another file that attached to the main file as an alternate data stream. And over the years, we've seen many vulnerabilities. So, yeah, they basically went sidecar on it and hijacked. But yeah, now they can do more. So just because it does have this vulnerability. So if you're a Windows user and you're running 7-Zip, make sure it's version 7-Zip 24.09 or later. When I went to download it, or when I went to double check that mine was the correct one, it was the latest and greatest, and it was 24.09. So if you have something previous to that, like 24.07 or something, go update it. Does not have an auto update function, so you'll have to download the version that is suitable for your system on the 7-zip download page. Other security measures. Okay, this is on my to-go-to list all the time. You'll hear me say. General safety tips keep in mind when you're handling archive files on a regular basis, or any files on the internet. Keep track of how and where you obtained the archive. In other words, don't get it off of Random Joe's Beef Jerky Emporium and Legend of Zelda emulators. Probably not good. Always be careful when opening archive files that you download from the internet. Yeah, I got this from Uncle Joe's Beef Jerky Emporium, and look, now I'm playing Legend of Zelda on my phone. Yeah. Make sure you're using an updated anti-malware solution that is capable of scanning inside archives and that you have that setting enabled, like Malwarebytes. Not a sponsor. Love it if they were. Just got, like, I totally dig Malwarebytes. I have multiple layers, but Malwarebytes is just fast and on it all the time. So yeah, but yeah, they can scan within archives, and Malwarebytes, to get the full paid version, it's relatively inexpensive, totally worth doing. Yeah, and it keeps track of who accesses archive files and when's this gonna, but yeah, that's Malwarebytes. Let's move on to yet another AI tool. GeoSpy analyzes images and identifies locations in seconds. Ooh, that's a little scary. If you don't understand why, hang with me here for a second. It's just become even more important to be conscious about the pictures we post online. GeoSpy is an AI-supported tool that can derive a person's location by analyzing features like in a photo, like vegetation, buildings, and other landmarks. Can do so in seconds based on one picture. Now look, you take a picture in front of Epcot, you don't have to be the gangbuster AI to figure out somebody took a picture in front of Epcot. You do it down on like St. Pete Beach, and you got like one tiny corner of a building in there, and this thing figures it out. That's impressive. Greylark Technology makes GeoSpy has been developed for government and law enforcement. So in other words, there's absolutely no way that could possibly be abused. But the investigative journalists from 404 Media report that tool has also been used by members of the public, making videos marveling at the technology, and some asking for help with stalking specific women. Like, you know, you think you're cynical, and then you read something like this, and you're like, no, I thought I was cynical and jaded. I'm every once in a while something still gets me, and I look at it and go, damn, really? Yeah, there went my dose of faith in humanity for the day. The media says that they train GeoSpy on millions of images from around the world and can recognize distinct geographical markers such as architectural styles, soil characteristics, and their spatial relationships. Using the tool to determine anyone's location requires virtually no training, so anybody can do it. Normally, it would take professionals quite some time of training and experience to reach a level of speed and accuracy that GeoSpy delivers to an untrained individual. There's actually a guy who does short videos out there on TikTok and Instagram. I've seen a few on YouTube, and they'll just send him a picture, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the Namibia Desert gradient," and like he'll pull it up on the map, and it's like, you know, guess the thing, and he's like 5 miles off. You're like he's insane. I wish I had something like that to pull up here. Oh, Wendell's back. Yeah. Hey, chime in, Wendell. I'm on some pretty good stuff here. now he's chatting with Dave. Dave and Wendell are brothers. So anyhow, this means that even the most non-tech savvy individual could find a person of interest based on pictures posted on social media, despite the fact social media strips metadata, which could include GPS coordinates or other useful information. So again, if you are even the slightest bit concerned for your safety, you don't want people necessarily know where you are, make sure you turn off the metadata, make sure you turn off GPS on your phone. Matter of fact, take a picture with camera. A lot of new cameras do have GPS built into them too, but you can turn that feature off. But yeah, if you're using a phone, you're pretty much broadcasting your location anyway. If you have those things turned off, it's a little bit harder, but yeah, a tool like this just makes it super easy. Yeah, okay, even if the tool is unable to narrow down a location to an exact street address or block based on vegetation, can bring the search area down to a few square miles. Yeah, that's not terrifying. company's founder says he's pushed back against requests from people asking to track particular women. Okay. They've not closed off public access for the tool. 404 Media asked him for a comment. So yeah, they're worried about, the dangers towards women. Look, this is dangerous for all of us. And they didn't even talk about, oh yeah, now the cops are like, well, we don't actually have a warrant to find this individual because, like, wasn't it Polk County was doing that crap? Oh, Wendell's gone now again. It's okay. We love you, Wendell. Come back, see me again. But yeah, who was it? Like Polk County? That was, I don't know if it was Polk County. It was one of the ones near here though. And they were like, yeah, we're doing the pre-crime, future crime crap. Like, you might be inclined to commit a crime, so we're just going to arrest you now. And like that was on the news. So, but they're the ones who have this tool who can see like, oh yeah, today we know you're in this neighborhood. That is not a tool I want in their hands. So yeah. Again, there's some better ways around some of this stuff, but I don't find any of it trustworthy. Anyhow, last one here. Speaking of which, your location and browsing habits could lead to price increases when buying online. Really? Companies are showing customers different prices for same goods and services based on what data they have on them, including details like their precise location or browser history. Not sketchy at all. By the way, there was just a release on this about a week ago. I should have brought it up on here and I didn't even think to include it. But Google now is keeping a secure ID for your browser that's on your machine. It's basically a browser fingerprint. So any place you go online with that browser, Google's going to go, we know it was you who was looking at this thing. There are other browsers out there that are not based on that, that are more secure. And you might go, I'm not doing anything wrong. Doesn't matter. This is a prime example of why you don't want your browser being able to track you on some stuff. Because, I'm going to tell you, first one on here, I don't even have to look. If they don't reference this, they're slacking. You want to try an experiment, go on to your normal browser and bring up a travel site, Expedia.com, whatever it is. Go bring that up and look up a flight to Aruba tomorrow. Or like a week from now, and then go back tomorrow morning and look at the same thing. That price will go up because they're tracking. Hey, you've already been here. It just shows you've been here. You're back. You're looking again. We're going to bump the price up on you. If you open a incognito browser, hit a VPN. If you don't know what that stuff is, it's okay. It's not super techy. Anybody can do it. And then you go look again. That price will be either equal to or below what you were looking at before. So it's scary when you realize how much of an impact that, Dave says, Wendell says there's too much latency and Dave says he thinks it was Polk County. Yeah, Wendell's like VPN. He's got the VPN thing. Good. But yeah, like here you go. The goal is better understanding the shadowy market third-party intermediaries use to individualize products and services based on consumers, location, demographics, browsing patterns, shopping history. Look, I understand if they're seeing a request for somebody from Clearwater, Florida, trying to look up information about a snowblower. Okay. Maybe the price should be a little bit higher. What the hell am I using a snowblower for? But that's not what this is. This is, your browsing patterns. Like, I'm going to call her out about it. My wife, she loves the murder, mystery, and makeup podcast. She, like anything, serial killers, that kind of stuff. She's down with that. And I'm totally down with it too. Wendell, here, I'm going to pop that up here for a second. Wendell's like, forget it, use drum, string, and soup cans. Yeah, like there's a part of this where you start going, maybe the old way wasn't that bad. Here, send a courier with the embossed wax seal. Send that over to somebody. Nobody's going to intercept that. Wendell's going BRB. And Dave says, yeah, snowbirds will look up snowblowers or something. But, it's sketchy when they start like following you around And they start building this pattern of who you are and what you're looking at. My wife says, yeah, it keeps you in line. It's true. It's true. But oh yeah, back to her and the murder podcasty stuff. Like, okay, so she's watching the murder shows, murder podcasty stuff. And then if she goes to Lowe's and looks up, hey, I need a duct tape, shovel, rope. Can I get a wood chip or two? This thing's gonna like flag her for everything, and if the cops are looking at that, they're definitely gonna be watching her. Are you wrong? I like to think so. But yeah, they're looking at mouse movements on a web page. Murder kit. Jenny says murder kit. It's true. It's true. We like the murder kits. Whatever you can buy that will make the checkout person the most uncomfortable, that's what you go for. Anyhow, this is another thing people do not realize about this. There's something on a website referred to as a heat map. And web hosts, like developers, will look at that and go, okay, well, when they clicked in, the first thing they did was they put their mouse over here and they scanned down here and then they went back over here and then they found the buy now link. So what can we do? Can we bring the buy now up to the top so we can get that buy now faster? But it'll show a heat map of where that mouse trailed to. And it's kind of scary when you know about it, and then you're like, okay, it's a normal part of doing business to optimize this stuff. Dave says, you better hope she didn't buy in that stuff. Yeah, really? I mean, come on. I've got VA Medical. Like, they're trying to kill me too. At this point, it's a miracle I'm still alive. But yeah, oh yeah, and then types of products that consumers leave in an online shopping cart without clicking buy can be tracked and used by retailers to tailor consumer pricing. So yeah, they can go, well, you put that in your cart at buy it now at $13, but you didn't bite, so maybe we'll drop the price to $9 and see if you'll bite. That's legitimate business to a certain extent until it becomes intrusive, until it becomes something that they're reporting. And a lot of what happens with this is it goes to third-party data aggregators and data brokers who will send that out to other people and go, oh, well, they were looking at the murder kit, but they didn't actually buy it. Is it too expensive, or are they just not ready for the murder yet? And you're like, but what? No. So they're using advanced algorithms, artificial intelligence, and other technologies, along with personal information about consumers to determine targeted prices. What's the price of X? Well, the price of X for consumer 3 goes through channel Z at location T and time. Yeah, so, and it's basically the stuff we're talking about. Different. Oh, Jenny says she loves me. Yeah, doesn't mean you're not going to kill me. It's okay. I know she loves me. She wouldn't kill me. She just wait for me to fall over or send me over to the VA. She doesn't need to hurry that process along. Oh God, what TV show or movie was it where they're like, we can't believe you killed this dude. He was dying of cancer. He's going to be dead in a week anyway. Like you would have completely missed a murder charge if you just let him die naturally. So yeah, kind of the same thing. But this is a big thing here. Holy crap, the FTC actually said something impressive. Americans deserve to know whether a business is using a detailed consumer data to deploy surveillance pricing, and the FTC's inquiry will shed light on this shadowy ecosystem of pricing middlemen. Thank you. Be aware, and this is what all this comes down to. Be aware that whatever you do online is being tracked. There's some stuff like, you can go look up the murder kit and throw people off. I can go here's a good one for you. You want to see something crazy? Try this as an experiment. Go online and look at baby formula, diapers, rash. It doesn't even have to be diapers. You look up just baby rash cream and like some baby food. Because those are both legitimate with not having a baby. I guarantee within a week or two, you're going to be getting mailers in the mailbox for baby products. Because this is what happens. They farm your data, they sell it off to a data broker. Data broker goes, they could be having a baby, and they'll start sending you stuff. That's targeted paper advertising. They'll do it online too. You'll start seeing ads for stuff. If you ever wonder why you see an ad on Facebook or Google or something like that for something that you only had a fleeting thought about, they primed you. There's a great TV show that I loved called The Mentalist. And if you look up some of the techniques that mentalists use, they will prime you for something. So like if I asked you to think of a number right now, are you thinking of 2 or 3? Because I just primed you doing that. That's what they're doing. And yeah, they will prime you for something. You go, man, I hadn't thought about that. I could really go for some pizza right now. They've been priming you to think about pizza. All there is to it. So just be aware that these things, number one, they're out there. Number two, they will manipulate you. Number three, they are tracking you. And number four, that tracking gets reported to anybody and everybody who could profit from it, including law enforcement. You know, like, oh, no, they're not. Yeah, they profit. That one of the biggest industries in the U.S. You know, when you got 25% of the population in jail or prison, it's pretty profitable for them. So, you know, and like we said, Polk County was on that. At least we're pretty sure it was Polk County. Wendell sent that link to a friend of his in Canada. That's awesome. And Dave's like, yeah, it happens all the time. Alexa listens to your wants. Yeah, it does. It's like, well, you got a little mind thingy going. It is scary when you have even a basic understanding of how much of this is, you know, going on, and how that drives marketing and sales and data reporting and that kind of stuff. It makes you want to just kind of go into a hole and not come back out. So, hey, Jennifer's on here too. Sweet. All right. And look, I got all sorts of people. This is awesome. Jennifer, was it Wendell that invited you? I'm assuming you're the friend in Canada. Where's my, oh wait, I don't have a Blame Canada meme. I'm sorry. Let's see, where was the Buyers on the Hook? Yeah, this one came out of Canada. This is from Real Estate Magazine in Canada, where they're talking about buyer on the hook for $366,000 in damages after failing to close. Yeah, Jennifer is in Canada. That's awesome. So, well, thank you for joining us, Jennifer. Now that you're here at the end of the podcast, or at the end of this episode for frauds and scams. So, but it's all good. I appreciate you showing up. I can try and recap. We had there's a massive security warning for Gmail right now. 2.5 billion users, AI hack confirmed. And I'm telling you, it is a very sophisticated attack. There is only one red flag, and it's a tiny one at the very beginning. And if you miss it, you could be just sucked right along. And there's a third of the population of the planet is at risk on that one. The FBI has a new warning. Be on the lookout for specific language in emails. Let's see. Yes, they're trying to exploit mass casualty events and disasters, and be on lookout for messages that stress urgency. This is totally a thing. And Jenny's like, we've reached international status. Yes, we have. It's awesome. I'm loving it. Yeah, let me pop the browser back up here, because I just realized I was talking about this stuff and I wasn't showing it. Gmail security warning for 2.5 billion users. AI hack confirmed. This is from Forbes magazine. I found a workaround so I didn't have to pay for it. See, you know, sometimes it's good like that. But yeah, they're sending you. We'll recap here real fast. You get a phone call from a number with a Google ID from an American support technician warning that someone had compromised your Google account, which has now been temporarily blocked. They send an email to your Gmail account to confirm this as requested by you, and it's sent from a genuine Google domain. And then you go Google the phone number and it comes back to a legitimate Google Office number. And then you call a legitimate Google Office number and they're like, yeah, hey, it's still Joe. Let me help you out with this. The only red flag there is the start here that you're getting a call from a number with a Google caller ID. Google will not call you. That they ain't going to spend money on outbound calls. So, but like everything else tracks amazingly. Look, it's like a family reunion over this. This is awesome. Hold on. We're take this down for a second. Look at the chat room. It's okay. Wendell invited Jen, and Jennifer's like, yeah, I'm here. This is great. Wendell's like, all right, that's good. Jenny says international status achieved, and Wendell's like introducing the family member. Zach is my niece's husband, Jen. Dave's like, hi, Jen. Hi, David. Love your work. Just don't pick the call. Yeah, good one. Don't pick up the call. If I don't know who you are, if we have not eaten a meal together, I am not picking up the phone for you. You can go to voicemail. So yeah, we'll go back over here real quick and run through the rest of these. FBI issued warning about scammers trying to exploit mass casualty events. Oh, it was the poor people in the Palisades fire out in California. They need your help. They don't need my help. Newport Richey Realty. This one was a bad one. The company owner was arrested after stealing more than $300,000 from victims. According to officers, the total estimated amount stolen was believed to exceed 1.5 million. They can just prove 360,000. They can't prove the 1.5 million yet. But yeah, that was a huge one. He was doing property management and basically just absconded with the escrow funds. Which, look, I'm not saying you should do this, but if you are doing this kind of thing, once you hit $1 million, just disappear, man, disappear. Buyer on the hook for $366K in damages after failing to close. This is the one out of Canada. Cases arise from this one was really interesting because there was a pretty big gap in price. 1.25 million with a closing date in August 2022. Sellers relisted the property in 2022 and got accepted a lower price of 965. Long story short, the buyer failed to get their loan approved. The sellers went, look, we can't keep hanging on to this property. They've relisted it pretty quickly after the buyer said they couldn't afford to do it. And as soon as they relisted, they got an offer and it was 965. There's a gap there. It wasn't good. And the buyer's like, well, but I gave them another offer a month later. We're like, no, your offer still wasn't any good. So that has gone through the Ontario Superior Court of Justice and they're having a good time with this. But yeah, they were awarded some damages. Feds, this one I like, skewer the sacred cows, Metamania. My only communications is only in VR MetaQuest. That's interesting. I have never heard. I don't see why it wouldn't be an actual thing. But like as far as security goes, I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong, it's cool if you're watching this and you haven't used a Meta or an Oculus, like it is a mind-blowing experience to be operating in 3D. It's all the shit we were promised for the future, minus the hoverboard. And it is really cool. I don't know how it is about security though. And I'll tell you why. I'll give you a real good one here. I still have Xbox 360s because I love my Assassin's Creed, and my wife did give me a couple of other games for Christmas. But, the Xbox 360, they had a couple of things that you're like, okay, that's not terrible. And you had the Kinect in there, which was awesome. It's like the Wii without the paddles, and you could do all the physical stuff. It was an interesting thing, but I'm like, I'm unplugging that shit. I don't want a camera watching me while I'm sitting on the couch scratching myself in places I don't want people seeing me scratch. And they came out like a year later going, oh, well, somebody accused us of watching, and listening. We do, but you're not supposed to know that. And it's not that big of a deal. And I'm like, wait a minute, wait. You've been listening to people and watching them through their Kinect for a year, and you're like, it's no big deal. Please. That's the same Microsoft, by the way. So yeah, soon Android XR Samsung. Yeah, there's some amazing tech out there. What I'm looking forward to is that we're constantly in the spy versus spy thing. If you ever went into the Mad magazine, there was the spy who wore black and the spy who wore white, and they were always out trying to outdo each other on stuff. It's kind of that. It's like, okay, here's this really awesome technology and we're going to exploit you through it using this method. Well, we're going to do that. It just keeps going back and forth. And the thing that I'm looking forward to is when we get the asymmetric encryption on stuff. Where it's just like you're not going to crack that. Like there's multiple layers to encryption. That's one thing, and the other thing is that they just don't keep the data. And I'll give you a good example of that. One of the apps that I use with one of my friends is called Signal. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that. VR is very safe because not a lot of people are on it. Yeah, that's like saying there's only one cop in the room and there's only 10 of us. Like, I mean, maybe it's true. Maybe we're like, we don't care about these 10 people, but the cop just wanders off. But yeah, I mean, it's but Signal is awesome because they keep none of your information. They say this number sent a message at this time. That is literally all they had. And they do not give out the information without a warrant and a subpoena. There was a case this past year, like late this last year, and the cops are like, you got to give us this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, can't help you. And like those of us who are privacy advocates were like, good on them for saying we can't help you. And the subpoena, like, and the judge, they're like, we demand you give us this stuff. And we're like, can't help you. So they got dragged into court, and the judge is like, what do you mean you can't help me? I demand that you give me all this information. They're like, phone number, time and date stamp, and the fact that they sent or received a message. They're like, well, we need the message contents and the topics. And they're like, can't give you that. We literally don't track it. We do not have any of that data because we do not collect any of that data. The only data we collect are those 3 points. And he just kept reiterating that. And he's like, here's our files. Like, you pick any of them. That's literally all we collect. And I'm like, thank God, because they're encrypted and they're not keeping my data. I'm like, I like Signal. Yeah, Telegram's awesome too, but they folded, they capitulated on something, and their stuff wasn't like they were keeping messages, and the cops are like, we want to see that stuff, and they're like, okay, here. And Signal's like, show you what, we don't have anything. I love it. Animated emojis right up my alley. Oh yeah, I love those too. Here, you know what? We haven't done one of them. No, I don't need that. I need let's see, memes and clips. Yeah, we gotta have a meme or clip for this. Yeah, here we go.
Let's have some fun. Let's get crazy here.
Yeah, gotta have a little fun. Anyhow, let's pop back over to this real quick. Turn the chat box off and browser back on. Hey, I can do that from memes and clips. I forgot I could do that. Fed slapped TD Bank with $3.1 billion in fines for money laundering of fentanyl trafficking and terrorist financing. Yeah, if you had your money in TD Bank, you better not have it in there now. And long story short, they were like, you should have done better. And honestly, like if TD Bank wanted to comply with the feds, their profits kept increasing. They're like, nope, we're not doing any more expenses. And the feds are like, but those expenses are to keep you from letting money laundering go on. And they're like, we're not putting up any more expenses on stuff. So they got, well, I don't think the banks have any business knowing what you're doing with your money anyway. The only thing I will forgive a bank for is for saying, yeah, looks like you're making a sizable withdrawal. Do you feel like you're being coerced into this? Are you sure this is a legitimate transaction? That's what they should be asking. Does it sound scammy? Here, let me slide across the desk. Here's the warning, the red flags of a scam. Are you staking this to go buy gift cards? Has somebody said that they're in love with you, but they just need money to help buy the vacation house in Cabo? That kind of stuff. Yeah, no, like that. Your bank should be looking out for you that way. But reporting your data? Nope. If anybody has a good, I need to go look into how to unbank, because I just don't trust them. But yeah, the TD Bank got slapped with $3.1 billion in fines. Whew, man. So yeah, it ain't honest, but it's much. Ooh, let me try this. Let me see if my thing reset. We're gonna do this hands-free. Farmer. It did. It worked. Yay! That makes me so happy that is working now. I got to reset the time, but yeah, welcome back, TikTok. So there's a deal going on out there where people were profiting heavily from phones that had TikTok pre-installed, because if you had TikTok installed and they banned the TikTok and then the TikTok went away from the market and then came back on the market, you were still good if your phone already had TikTok installed. If you get a new phone, you cannot install TikTok. I'm sure there's going to be a workaround. But a lot of what people were doing was they loaded up phones ahead of time. They're like, yeah, we'll install TikTok on all 10 of these. And they turn around and sell them on the marketplace for like 25 grand a piece. Damn, I wish I'd figured that one out. I'm just be a poor boy. Anyhow, so yeah, it's a thing. It'll come snapping back around. Wendell says he's out of here. The beast is hollering. All right, cool. Jennifer's got to go too. Wonderful podcast. Nice to meet you. Thank you for showing up, Jennifer. I really appreciate it. It's great to see the family coming in here and being supportive. This is wonderful. So yeah, we'll go through this one real quick so I can wrap back up. 7-zip bug could allow a bypass of Windows security feature. Update it now. Long story short, it can allow a malicious code to be embedded. So if you don't know what you're getting, you don't know what you're getting. If you're a Windows user, check whether you're using version 7-zip 24.09 or later. If you're not, then you need to update. I checked mine. I'm on the latest. AI tool GeoSpy analyzes images and identifies locations in seconds. If you're a stalker, and actually they said this in there, that they shut it down for civilians because they're like, no, there were too many guys saying, I want to track this woman. Where's she at? Thirsty dudes, man. But yeah, like, but the cops still have it. Okay, cool. And again, this is where we were talking about Polk County. They're like, pre-crime. You're displaying a pattern that you might commit a crime soon. So we're going to track you down and arrest you ahead of time. Yeah, this tool would let them know, like, oh, you took a picture on your phone. We know exactly where you're sitting at. I'm not good with that. So if you have a choice, instead of taking a picture with the phone, take a picture with an actual camera and do not include GPS or metadata on there. There you go. And then, you upload it when you feel like it. Not everything has to be instant unless you're doing a live stream. So, and then last one here, there we go. Your location or browsing habits could lead to price increases when buying online. If you're shopping for homes in Cabo and airline tickets and luxury resorts and that kind of stuff, don't be surprised when you go back to look for that airline ticket. The price has gone up significantly, and you're getting pitched stuff for, frequent flyer miles and class upgrades and that kind of thing. Oh, hey, let's get you the luxury spa package too. If you're doing it online, somebody's tracking it, somebody's selling that to somebody else, and they're tracking it. And if you want to have a little bit of fun, just go onto Walmart.com and just poke through until it recommends baby diaper rash cream, and click on it. And then scroll down to where it says users also bought, and click on something down there like baby food. And then just exit off the site and see how long it takes for a mailer to show up in your mailbox for diapers, daycare, maternity clothes, prenatal vitamins, baby care experts in the local area, who the baby hospital is. I swear, you didn't even have to sign into an account, and they will find out. So they're tracking that stuff, and they will use it to jack the prices up on things that you're interested in. That's all there is to it. So Dave's got to. Holy shit! Hold on here. Dave's got to run too, but. Holy shit, Fred is on here. That's why the Taliban filmed in caves. Fred's my military brother from another mother. Yeah, you're right. I don't blame them for filming and sending their stuff out from caves. I try to be very open-minded about this, but the more shit that I read, the more paranoid I get, because I'm like, this is the stuff they're willing to talk about on big broadcast stations. However paranoid you think you are not paranoid enough. He said the mountain ranges in the videos gave away their location. Yeah, exactly. Hey, look, that looks like the one that was in Conan the Barbarian. That is the one that was in Conan the Barbarian. We know exactly where that is. Send a bomb, send a bomb. Yeah.
Ow! Buddy.
I have way too much fun, and that's kind of the whole idea, isn't it? I mean, I'm here to have a good time and be informative. It's mostly just about having a good time and having great conversations. And yeah, I'm very grateful that everybody showed up and tuned in, participated. This is by far the largest number I've had so far, and I really appreciate it. This has been fantastic. But I'm getting a little toasty. My dog she wants to go out. She wants to go have some fun. So I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate y'all tuning in. And next live stream will probably be Monday night for Military Monday, full of veteran shit. Thanks for joining me this evening. I hope you found it entertaining, maybe even informative. If you have questions, please email them to podcast@zackkidd.com. and I'll include the response in the next live stream. Until then, I'm Zach Kidd, Realtor, Clearwater, Florida, signing off.